Good afternoon everybody and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts, and my name's Susanna and I live with trains, and today it's your questions answered, and also it's going to be featuring Revolution trains. And last week I also said that I was waiting on a few more bits and pieces to arrive, and all of those pieces have now arrived, so I'm just going to be showing you what has arrived and that I was waiting on, and also an update on the engine shed as well that I was making out of card, because that's near enough complete. So, well, I say near enough complete, I've still got the inside to do, but we'll come to that in a moment. Now, I'd like to apologise to everybody who's watching, just purely because I'm not necessarily always the best at replying to people. However, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to comment on my videos and watch them, and it's very much appreciated. And I wanted to address a few of the comments over the last couple of videos that I haven't got round to, and also I'd also got a personal message as well to ask me about a few bits and pieces. So I thought what I'd do in this video is I'd answer your questions that I've got here. And like I said, you know, just the ones that I felt are that need answering specifically, rather than just do the usual kind of thumbs up and all the rest of it, and you know, or whatever. So it's just better just to sort of answer some of these that I felt that really needed answering. So I wanted to start off with Kevin Carter at Medway Peninsula, and he'd asked me a little while ago. So my apologies, Kevin, for not getting back to you sooner. About my Scalescenes kit, because originally, excuse me, I was considering putting a Scalescenes kit over at Mildenhall Riverside Station, and I actually bought the kit and I actually went to the printers and had it all printed. So I do actually still have it, Kevin. I just have it in the envelope, because in the end I haven't really needed to use it, although I might pinch a few bits and pieces off of it, but I'm not sure yet. But I do have it, and obviously it's now not going to be used. I don't intend on building another station, but whether or not I'm happy enough with Goswell Park Station, that maybe I might decide to build it and then see how it looks. I might end up using that one as it's a bit more modern. So we're going to see how we get on with that. So I have got it. It's all ready to be done, and so let me just quickly show you that. So I'm just thinking about it. I think I did show you this before, but here it is in the envelope. It's all printed off. This was the Scalescenes kit that Kevin was asking me about, and it is still there to be built, and I think I might try building it. I'm not, because I wasn't overly impressed with the building that I'm using for Goswell Park Station, although I like the fact that I've managed to light it up. But whether or not I'm going to carry on with it, I'm not so sure. So I might try building it, and then I can have a pick of the two and see what I wanted to use. So I hope that answers that question. Right, and then we've got David. I've got it written down here because I know that if I try and remember, I just don't. So both David Adkins and from Trains on Tuesday over in Canada, he actually came to see me when I first started, when there was virtually nothing, and he's been a loyal subscriber of mine and a good friend of mine for many years, and been watching for many years. So if you're watching, David, I hope you're well, and I hope your health is good too. And also Warwick Road. So both David Adkins and Warwick Road, and I think it's David from Warwick Road, so I think, forgive me if it's wrong, I had the pleasure of meeting him at Get last year, and I had a very good conversation with him, so it was very nice to meet him too. And they were both asking about what the future is for the layout and what's next to come. And what I really want to do is, I'm just cracking on at the moment with the Freightliner terminal. That's my current sort of thing, and because that was mainly to do with the track configuration, but obviously that changed slightly from the video. Now, that I was talking about last week. So what I'd like to do next is I'd also like to get cracking on this heritage line. I keep talking about it, and I'm collecting bits and pieces for it, and locos and bodies and all the rest of it. And I haven't actually made a start on it, so I'd like to do that. But I'd also like to try and see about adding a bigger village scene at the back of the layout. And get that to make a bit more sense than what it does, because since I've taken out the road bridge that goes across, it hasn't sort of really made sense. So I really want to do that as well, that I'd like to do. So it might be a thing that my next project might be to start on the heritage line and make a start in it, and then as I kind of get bored, or if I want just fancy a change, then I'll probably go and work at the back. And so those are the two main things for the future. But I'd also, one of the other things I really want to get going with is also running the trains using various systems to try and work out a sort of operations plan in terms of how to run the layout. Sort of similar thing that what they use in America with car cards and stuff like that. And using the dice and things like that. So I'd like to kind of work out kind of like a bit of a formula for that, so I can so it's not always the same when I run trains. I mean, I don't run trains too often when I'm on my own, but I do run them. And like yesterday, I was running them on my own for testing purposes mainly. But I do prefer it when other people are around. But when I am on my own, then I can always use these various systems. So that's something else I'd like to sort of develop, like work a plan on how I'm going to do that. Now, Daz Faulkner, he put up a comment on my last video as well, and he was asking about that I changed my mind really quickly and how the speed at which I work and all the rest of it. And what it boils down to is, I've said it on many occasions, because of the fact that my layout is in my living space, I don't have to go to a loft or out to a shed or a garage or anything like that. It's literally to hand. So if anything needs changing, I can just get on with it there and then if I need to, or if I want to. And the other thing is, I'm just one of those people that if I think that I'm just this person who just hates time wasting and things like that. So if something doesn't work for me, I'd rather just sort of like either sell it or change it just to make it work better for me. And the fact was, the quarry I was never overly happy with at the back, because although it was nice at the back, it was just awkward. And it just made sense that when I saw the video on the Freightliner Leeds and I wanted to make this bigger and I had to figure out where the carriage sidings were going to go, it just made sense that it fit together that the carriage siding should go at the back, because it fits much better at the back. And so therefore I just did it. And and again, sometimes it's like inspiration, you're sitting here sometimes and you kind of thinking, what can I do or whatever. And then a video pops up and gives you some inspiration to get on and do something to your own layout. And that's what happened with the Freightliner Leeds drone footage. I saw that, and that just literally gave me so much inspiration that I just literally had to do it. So, like I said, I can change my mind quickly and the other thing is I built the layout. So, when somebody else is building it for you, or somebody's done like your electrics or something, then you might be a bit skeptical about changing something and you might procrastinate over it. But with me, it's like I've done it. I know where it all goes. I know how it's put together. I know how it comes apart. So it's just get on and do it. So I hope that answers that question, Daz. Kev Bygrave, he's been a follower of mine for some time as well. And he sent me a message the other day, or commented on my video the other day. And he was saying that he was asking me about why have I not been out and about doing more train videos like I used to do. And I do want to do more. It's finding the time to do it, and also to make sure it coincides with my health and well-being, basically. And I also don't live in Bramley anymore. So when I used to live in Brownlee was literally just down the road, and it's a through station. I live here in Alton, and anyone who knows anything about Alton knows it's the end of the line. It's a branch line and it's right at the end of the line. And there isn't any through freight or anything exciting that comes up here, only when there's like maybe some special events going on at the Watercress line where they use the main line to bring up like diesels for the diesel gala or steamers for the steam gala, and maybe they come off on the main line to get to it. So that's the only time you really see it, because otherwise here it's literally just like 450s pretty much on a daily basis, or 458s occasionally, and that's pretty much it. So in terms of train spotting around here, there isn't much in the way of variety. So I will have to go out. I keep meaning to go out and do a bit more, but I'm one of those fair weather kind of train spotters. I'm not one of those hardcore ones that goes out in all kind of weather. So hopefully that answers that. And like I said, I do hope to do some more. And then Arthur Thorpe also sent me a message. So like I said, thank you all for taking the time to message and comment and all the rest of it, because it is appreciated. And anything if I can help you with, I will try and help you with. So he was asking me about my Digitrax system, and he was asking me about what, because he knows that I use Digitrax and that I use JMR Engine Driver for my app. He was asking about what software I use in conjunction with all of this, and the short answer is I don't. I know that with JMRI you can get various downloads where you can sort of download various software to either I think they're like Decoder Pro, and which is exactly what it says on the tin. It's just basically so you can program your trains and adjust the CVs. And then there's also other programs within JMRI, so you can do your rosters as well, or your fleet. I say rosters because it's more of an American term, but just to cover both bases, your fleet in the English side and rosters in the American side. But I don't use any of that, to be honest. And a lot of the time, my rolling stock tends to be quite fluid. It's kind of like a Del Boy of like of locos, really. It's like some come and some go, and then I've got my hardcore fleet which sort of stay with me for the long haul. So me putting trains in, sometimes they end up not staying that long, and then they end up getting moved on because as the requirements change, the locos then come and go. And like now, with me doing the heritage line, or planning on doing the heritage line, I'm now sort of heading towards the sort of green diesels and other diesels and locos that would kind of, it doesn't matter, to be honest, on the heritage line what you put on it. So but what I will say is I am trying to use a digital program which I downloaded, and I've now got to readjust it, and it's called Ops Buddy, and it's an American thing, where it's kind of like a digitalized version of your car card system, and he's done it on a spreadsheet format, and this is again to sort of help you run your trains and all the rest of it. So that's something that I will be looking to. So it isn't actually to do with the loco roster, but it is something that I am looking to deal with, and I've already made a start on that already, but I will need to change some of it. And lastly, which will lead us very nicely on to stuff that I've got recently that I was waiting on, and also some unforeseen updates. Last week I did a video and I was showing you what I got last week, or what had arrived last week, and one of the items that I said I'd got was this TEAP by Revolution trains. And I'll quickly summarise for those who didn't watch the video last week. But basically, I bought this brand new off of eBay, and when it arrived, I was like really impressed with it. Like I said, in the previous video, I was really impressed with the box and impressed with the information on the back and the differences between the two. And it seemed like Revolution Trains had really gone to a lot of trouble to sort of recreate the differences between the two variants. I guess like a lot of many manufacturers now, you know, when you sort of, they're turning around saying, well, like there's 15 versions or whatever it is of a particular class 47, or whether it be a 66, because there's slight tweaks between the various subclasses and all the rest of it, and manufacturers go through a lot of trouble to replicate that. But I did say in my last video, and it is absolutely beautiful. This is it here. It's still, I mean, I did take it out of the box, and I was actually running it yesterday because I was testing it yesterday on the Freightliner terminal as I was trying to work out some clearances and things like that and uncoupling. And I got this, and I did say that I had a bit of a disappointment with it last week, where unfortunately the axle on it had, when I took it out, the axle wasn't actually attached to the bogie. And it turns out that there was a couple of bearings, well, actually one bearing was sitting on the bottom and the other one was still attached to the bogie. But then when I picked it up, it fell out, and fortunately it fell into the packaging. And so there was an unexpected update on that, because what happened was, I'm going to take this out. After I'd done the video, and I'll quickly show you. I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult to see. Because in all honesty, you don't really get much in the way of a detailing pack with this, but that's fine. Sometimes it can be a bit too much, but I don't know if you can see in a bag. I don't know if I can show you. There you go. You got some wheels there, but there's also some bearings there, and those bearings are the bearings that fell out. And I think there was actually one that was a spare. I think they give you a spare. And so, like I said, the bogie, one of the axles had fallen out of the bogie. And if I sort of, and I rewatched the video yesterday, and or the day before or something, and I noticed something about it, and that was that there was, well, I was showing it to you guys like this, and I said, oh, I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's this one or this one. And when I rewatched it, I realised the difference that the bearings make, and that's because on this one you can, I don't know if you can see, look, there's a lot of play in that one, and there isn't on this one. And it was one of the end ones that had fallen out, and it was, and so now I'm pretty certain it was this one. And I didn't realise at the time how much of a difference. I just popped it in thinking, oh, it's not going to be a problem. And it doesn't derail or anything, but you can definitely see that there's a lot of play in that one. Look at that one, you see that one's sort of, but this one, look, there's a lot, you can see like that one moving a lot. And I didn't think anything of it. And like I said, I didn't bother putting the bearings back in because I just thought, well, it's a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, just not to say what I said last week. And I said I said on the video, you know, just how it was really. I said, look, it's a beautiful wagon, and it's one of my most expensive wagons, but unfortunately it's just one of those annoying things that has happened. But no harm done, because the rest of it was fine. You know, nothing else was broken, nothing else was damaged or anything. It was just that the axle had popped off and the bogie and the bearings had fallen out. So I didn't think anything of it, to be truthful with you, until I got a message from Revolution Trains themselves. And I was like, oh, I didn't realise that they watched my videos. And so Simon contacted me, and and I was absolutely gobsmacked because I really wasn't expecting it. To me, it was just like, okay, it's done, dusted. I've put the axle back on. I'm not going to bother with the bearings. I'll just run it as it is, and that should be fine. And not realising at that point that there was quite a lot of play in the axle and in the bogie. And Simon contacted me from Revolution Trains, and he said to me, "I'm really sorry to hear what happened about your tank wagon." And he said to me, if you'd like to talk to me about it, or if there's anything that I can do, just contact me via the email supplied. So I did. And to be honest, I wasn't really, I wasn't really quite sure what to say or what to expect or anything, because I wasn't really expecting anything, because I really wasn't expecting Revolution Trains to be watching my videos. And also I really wasn't expecting them to sort of do anything about it. It was like, to me, it was just like, this is a piece of rolling stock I got, here you go, this is what it looks like, unfortunately this is what's happened, put the axle back on, and it's kind of put to bed. But credit to Revolution Trains, because I sort of said well, what could you do? What do you think? What were you thinking? And he quickly suggested sending me 2 replacement bogies for the TEA tanker. And I have to say, I bit his hand off for it, because, and I'm glad I did, because there was a part of me that was thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't, because, you know, it is running. Okay, it's not perfect, but it is running. But now I've realised that there is quite a lot of play in that axle, then maybe it was quite a good idea to go forward and get it anyway. And I tell you what, I think the video went out on Friday, and I think the video either went out on Friday or Saturday, and I had it in my hand on Tuesday. That's how quick that they responded and dealt with my issue that I had with my TEA tank. And I have to say that it's absolutely superb customer service. Like I said, I've never ever bought anything from Revolution Trains. This is my first sort of item from them. And I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape or form. You know, I was just, like I said, just doing what I normally do. You know, I get a piece of rolling stock or whatever it is and just put it out there. And, you know, like I said, I wasn't expecting anything to happen of anything. So for them to reach out to me, and, you know, apologise and come up with a solution for it, then I'm really, really pleased. So this is what arrived in the post. I mean, look how well packaged that is. That is so cool. I haven't opened this because I wanted to open it in front of the camera, good or bad. So, and it's got some sellotape to it, and I started picking at it because I just didn't want to end up being here for like 5 minutes trying to, but I only just picked at it. I didn't actually take it off. So, I mean, that is so nicely packaged, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Well done, Revolution Trains. And there's 1 and 2. You almost kind of like a bit more to pick it up. So you don't want to damage it. But here are said bogies. Complete. I don't have to mess around with it, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm really impressed. I really am impressed, Revolution Trains. Yeah, thank you so much. And I owe them an apology as well, because I got this on Tuesday and I should have sent him an email back. So Simon, if you're watching, my apologies for not getting back to you. I haven't actually been well, and for a change, and which is so frustrating. And because I just really haven't been in the mood to do a huge amount. I've just picked at things. And the other thing is I really wanted to open this in front of the camera, just so there's no tricks or anything like that. But I have to say like I said, well done to Revolution Trains for doing that, because they didn't have to. I mean, I didn't, like I said, I didn't know they watched my channel, and like I said, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. They just kindly reached out to me, expressed their apology to me for the inconvenience that I've had with it and the issue that I've had with the wagon, and fair dues to them. You know, they reached out to me, asked me to contact them, offered a solution, and within a few days, the 2 bogies were in my hand. So well done, and a massive, I have to say, thumbs up to Revolution Trains, and a 10 out of 10 from me. Someone also said on the comments that I actually overpaid for my TEA wagon, and I suspected that. But for what I got, for what I paid, I still think it was pretty good, and I only needed the one. But Revolution Trains, thank you, and thank you for sorting this out for me. And I'm really appreciative of what they've done. And again, once again, if anyone's interested in the catalogue number, it's TEA Tanker 00 TEA 41142, or it's probably 00. So it's probably 00 TEA 41142, and it is 871002 in the Freightliner green. And there you go. So I'm really, really impressed. I'm really pleased with that, and I will fit that in rather than try and fit it in now. I know it's only a screw. I'll fit it in when I've got a moment, because this video is getting on and we still haven't got through to the new bits that have arrived. Now, and there will be a little bit of a short gallery at the end of this as well, because a few things have arrived, and so they don't, and the things that I've got to show you, some of it doesn't come as it looks as I'm showing it to you, so that's another reason for doing that. So one of the things I was waiting on this week, which arrived literally this afternoon, were these. And this is, I got this off of eBay from a company called Little Prince. I think it's Little Prince. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is all that? And so let me just show you what it is, just as one piece. And that is some yellow safety railing. And it is a pack of 15, railings. And to be honest with you, it wasn't overly expensive. I can't remember what the price was of that, to be truthful with you. But that will be for the depot area. The other thing I got is a pack of 4 of these IBC tanks. I don't know if you can see that. And now there's various of IBC tanks in on eBay, and this I got off of eBay. But you can see it comes with a separate pallet, and if I take it out, look, you've got a separate cage and a separate tank. So 3 separate bits, which for the price that I paid, which was I think $5.99 for a pack of 4. I don't think you can really argue with that. And the other thing is, there are some IBC tanks which are $8.99. Now, the other thing is to bear in mind is I'm not actually sure whether the other ones that are more dear, whether or not they're separate or not. But I love the fact that these are all separate pieces. And I've got a pack of 4. I think some do a pack of 6, but I'm not entirely certain. So that's one of the things I got. Now, one of the other things I got, now I'm really pleased with this. So actually before, because I need to show you something else that goes along with this actually. So bear with me 1 second, I'll be straight back. Right, I'm back. The reason is I actually forgot to get the attachment. So one of the other things that I got this week, and I'm really super duper pleased about this, is honestly, like I said, I'm going to do a little gallery to show you some of the bits on the layout, just so you can have an idea of how it might look. And I got this super duper dinky 3D printed forklift, and it comes with a bucket as well. So you can take the attachment off the front and replace it with the bucket if you want. And it comes in actually it comes in 4 pieces, because the actual forklift bit here just literally just pops out. The arm is a separate piece, and that comes out, as you can sort of see, look, that comes out. And then you've got the main body of this little dinky little forklift. And it's a modern one, and it looks absolutely superb, absolutely brilliant. You can't do anything with it in terms of the wheels don't rotate, and you can't sort of have it fixed in an upright position, only unless maybe you sort of like super glue the arm, but then it'd have to stay in a fixed position, either down or up or whatever you want to use it. So there isn't really any flexibility with that, and it's absolutely brilliant. It really is. Now, it doesn't come like this. It comes as a grey 3D print. So then you have to paint it yourself, all the various components. So yesterday I was just sitting here and sort of just painting this up. So that's the back. And like I said, I'll throw in some images. Now, on the Freightliner video, there was a front forklift exactly like this on the actual depot. And so when I saw this, I just had to have it. And then, like I said, it comes 3D printed, so the colour scheme is entirely up to you. I just chose it in this colour scheme. I'll tell you why I chose it, because when he did the pictures on his website, he had the cream wheels on it, the cream wheels. And I really like the idea of the cream wheels. I didn't really want to go with the kind of sort of usual sort of JCB look of the yellow, and I just wanted something a bit different. Although the one on the Freightliner depot was actually like a sort of more like a standard JCB colours, but this is how I've done it. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is a really good amount of detail inside. I don't know if it's going to pick it up. It's got some great detail inside, and it's great for a diorama. And I'm going to take a photograph of it, and I'll put it on the end for the gallery so you can see it. But like I said, you can see it like that. And all of this just pops off, this attachment, and then you can just put the other one on. But I'm going to leave it like that because I wanted it with the forks rather than with the bucket. Now, he also, on his website, does mini diggers. So if you're creating like a street scene where you're making it out like you've got some contractors out on the road and they're digging the road up and they've got the cones out, you can have like a scene like where it's like temporary traffic lights. They've got one of those mini diggers, so you can buy those. I've seen it on his eBay site. Now, for those of you who are interested in this kind of thing, and I'm sort of looking at you, David, over at Warwick Road, because I know he kind of likes these kind of things. But for anybody else who might be interested, it is Diesel Dog Models on eBay. And he kindly, not only did he send that, but he kindly sent as a little freebie a little barrel. It might not seem like much, but the thought that counts, and it's a nice little gesture. But he did send a little barrel to go along with it. And like I said, I absolutely love this little digger. And I think once I take some photographs for you and I put it at the end, do a little gallery, then hopefully you'll get to see it on the layout, and that might make a bit more sense to you. Gosh, this video is going on a bit, isn't it? Well, a lot to say as always. So last, and by no means cut. No. So last but no means least is my engine shed. Now, excuse me, on my last video, I showed you that there was a shed under construction, and it still is. It isn't 100% finished, but I will give you an update as to what it looks like right now, because it now pretty much looks like all the others, in all honesty. Bearing in mind, this is made out of card, totally scratch built. and maybe I should give you some details. So let me give you some details first as well. So bear with me a minute. Right, so I'm back again. I should learn to actually have everything to hand that I need for when I do a video, so I don't need to go, oh, I'll be back in a moment. Right, so this is how it looks today from the white piece of card. My 2-road engine shed. I've sort of been picking at this throughout the week. As you can see, it is made out of card, and you can see that this is a much better construction than I did with the foam board and my carriage shed. So I don't know, I think now it's at the back there and it's sort of out the way, and the damaged part is sort of hidden away. You can't really see it so much. I think I might leave it at that, but definitely doing it this way. And you can see that this is actually the same piece of card. The insides have been reinforced, and the reason why they're reinforced is to create the same appearance as on the outside. So on the inside, like I said, I haven't finished this, but I'm not going to clad it in the same way on the inside, because what I'm going to do on the inside, I'm going to be a bit cheap about it, and just do a sort of technique that Tony Northeastern uses, just getting some A4 paper and just drawing the lines, and just do it that way on a plain piece of paper, as opposed to buying some more plastic card. Now on this end here, which I don't know if you can see, I think you can. Yeah, there's a channel there, and that channel's for the wiring. I've deliberately left that because basically on this side here and that side there is, like I said before, it's a fold kit. So it's all folded on a flat piece of card, and then you basically just leave a couple of tabs, and then all the rest are scored. And then you fold this end in, you fold that end in, then you fold the top over, and you fold it again, and then you fold it around again, and then the 2 tabs then hook on, and you glue them together. So it's literally just one piece of card. And then I strengthen it with another piece of card, but the thing is, the 2 tabs I stuck out, so you can see that there's 2 lines there. There's one there and one at the other end. So I've used that to my advantage, because what I've done is I've added another piece of card to strengthen it, but I've left a gap here on this end here, and this will feed the wiring for the it's a gap for the wiring, as I just said. And then there'll be another piece of card that goes on top. So then again, the wiring will be hidden underneath, and then the wiring will just come out through the bottom, through the baseboard, and then I can plummet it. Well, yeah, sort it out. But I haven't got that far yet. But as you can see, the ends have been strengthened as well, because if you don't, these end pieces tend to be a bit floppy or a bit fragile. But the thing is, what I've done with the inside of it is it looks the same, because as you can see on the front, it's less clear on the inside, but you can see there's an indentation. So this represents the shutter. And then I've done the same on the inside, where so you can see that there's a lip. So if I do put a cam truck in it, it's just not like a glorified sort of shed where there's nothing in the inside to show you. So it'll actually be decorated on the inside. The decals are the ones that I had left over. The door I had left over. But what I did buy was the Scalescenes plastic card, which is this stuff here. I can't remember what the code of this is, to be honest. But it is just like planking. Now, what I would say is don't make the same mistake I did, because the first 2 buildings, naughty me, didn't use primer, because I wanted to skimp on it, and I just thought, no, I'll just put the grey paint on it. And it looks great, and it still looks good, but overall, I had some primer for this. So I used the primer, and it's come out a lot better. And the thing is that the paint doesn't stick as well if you don't put the primer on, and that was the problem that I was having. So I had to touch up the buildings on a couple of occasions, and you could sort of see underneath that there's sort of like a hint of the brown plastic card. So if you are going to do this, then take it to tip, just use the primer for it. Now the face, the sort of all all these sort of fascia bits here, everything in green, all these little bits in green here. They're all made out of plastistruct, or you can have the evergreen polystyrene. Now, I did use both, and the reason why I used both was because I couldn't get. I originally bought the polystyrene evergreen one, which is this one here, which is number 105, and there you can see it there. There's a few bits lying about there, and I ran out, and I got this from Paul, but he didn't have any more. So when I went to Terry over at Hampshire Models, I showed him this, and he matched it up with a Plastistruct version. So this is the Plastistruct version, and the Plastistruct version is number 90747. But the difference is, there is a difference between the two though. Even though they're both the same width, the Plastistruct one is actually slightly thicker. Now, in the grand scheme of things, you don't really notice it, in all honesty. But what it does do is, by using the Plastistruct on the ends, you are basically sort of covering yourself in case of, if it means that the lines don't have to be necessarily perfect, is what I'm trying to say. So if you don't cut quite a straight line on the plastic card, you could use the straight edge of the Plastistruct to go over it, and that will tidy up the line and make it straight. So you don't have to be so precise. And I've filled the ends, the corners, so you minimise the gaps so you don't see any gaps. And I think it looks absolutely fabulous. I just need to do the top bit, which I'm going to put a strip across the top, and that will cover that seam there. Unfortunately, I can't really do much about the joins there, although I tried to cover it up as best as I could. But I was trying to sort of butt them up against each other as close as I could to try and sort of carry on the planking. And what I also did with it is that, here's another tip if you're going to use this kind of stuff, Plastistruct stuff, is that I don't know how well this picks up, but you can see that this is where the planking starts, and on here it's right on the line, so it's the same width. But when I got them, as you see on this one, on this side, I don't know if you can see it, but on the edge it's not a full plank. So what I did is to make sure that when I butt them up against each other, so it made sense, is to make sure that I trimmed just the first plank off, just to make sure that you've got a full plank on the ends. So you're not sort of marrying half a plank to a full plank and all the rest of it. So it makes the seam even worse. So in order to make the seam right, as best I could, is trim off the half a plank that you get on the edge and just start from a straight plank. Because I noticed that when I got these, they weren't all 100% straight, and they all weren't, like I said, a full plank on the edges. So my next thing to do with that is going to be to do the insides and then do the lighting and stuff like that, but we're getting there. Now, this video has been going on for a long time, but to be honest, I think it's good just to catch up with everybody, and there's a reason for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with a gallery with all my bits and pieces, and then see what you think. A massive thank you to Simon over at Revolution Trains once again for being so proactive and apologetic and being really nice about what he was prepared to do for me, and also the speed at which he got me the 2 bogies. I'm so impressed. So the next time that I'll have the wagon on the layout, I would have replaced one of those bogies. So until the next time, it's goodbye from me. My name's Susanna, and I live with trains. And just stick around for the quick gallery, and I will speak to you next time, which will hopefully be a cab ride, because I did the cab ride yesterday. I watched my last cab ride, and realised just how outdated it is already in such a short space of time in which I did it. So that should be your next video. So thanks a lot to everybody. I hope I've answered your questions. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to just chuck it into the comments, and I will get back to you either as a video response or just via the tippy tappy. So, like I said, stay tuned for the gallery. So bye for now. Bye bye.
Bye.